what's been really interesting is finding out about my culture, not from my people, not from my extended family, but from a white woman and her husband, anthropologist who wrote a book with the prehistoric people, the Akikuyu of British East Africa, because this is what the British did. They basically documented the way of life before they destroyed everything through colonialism. And this is how I'm finding out who I am. So it's really interesting looking at the homesteads and how my tribe used to live. And so everything about this is just wild, because in those days, still is in some places, but in those days, my tribe were purely polygamist. And the reason for polygamy was purely logistical, because there was always fewer men, because men were more likely to die at battle, and men were more likely to die from, I don't know, stuff. And so there was always fewer men. And so when a man married his first wife, he would live in his own home. So he had a home called the Gira. So he lived in his home, and then he built a house for his wife. And every other wife that he married would live in their own home. So everybody, so they actually lived like neighbors. They were all neighbors with one communal husband. So I suppose it was a form of communism, if you like. But so everybody lived in their own home. And what is interesting about the dynamics of this whole thing is that there were no, in terms of having sexual encounters with other people, the women could and they were permitted to have sexual encounters with other people, so long as they were of the same age bracket as their husband, so the same Rika as they called it. So you can go out younger. So if that person was the same age as your husband, and you couldn't, but he had to be in the homestead. So for example, if your husband went away on a safari, there's no way you'd ever have sexual relations with anybody. You'd have to tell him that one of his friends is coming to visit you, and they would understand what that means, and that was the end of the matter. Isn't that wild? And just to see the changes that colonialism brought, because what they did was they outlawed polygamy, and they made sure that now it's one man and one woman. And that transition has actually been quite hard, because it has been quite complicated and fascinating to see, because we still have the same problems in Africa. The ratio of men to women is 4-1. Yeah, 4-1 is the ratio of women to men. And it's wild. So it seems like in those days, the community had already sorted out all those issues. And then colonialism comes along, they outlaw all of this, and then now people have to live together in the same home, sharing the same bed. And it's insane. Completely insane. Anyway, join me as I've been discovering all these little things about my family and my tribe that were lost with colonialism. Take care for now. Thanks. Bye.